Hello people, I'm back with slightly different content this time. So today I am going to be talking about Pyramid Head. Pyramid Head is probably considered to be one of the stronger killer out in the game at the moment, overall. So he's got a couple of abilities. He's got normal attack M1, and he's got his range attack called a Right of Judgment. And Pyramid Head also moves at 4.6 meters per second on his normal, and if he switches to the Right of Judgment type, Torment mode, so that's for his range attack, his movement speed goes to 4.4 meters per second. He's not the first killer to have different movement speed depending on his power. We got Pig, for example, to do that. However, he is the first killer to have both normal attack and range attack, but can move at 115% movement speed, so that's 4.6 meters per second. So considering that other ranged killers such as Huntress and Deathslinger moves at 4.4 meters per second, that's a huge bonus on this side. And also he's one of the only killers, actually he is, apart from Nurse, only killer that can actually attack through a wall. Well, not including the bugs obviously at the moment. But he can walk, and even though he's got a limited range of 8 meters without any add-ons, the fact that you can attack through a wall is very strong. Walls, pallets and windows are not safe basically. That's not even his best part of the kit. His best part of the kit is the fact that he can negate some of the best perks in this game for survivors, namely Borrowed Time and Decisive Strike. His Trail of Torment leaves a trail where you step on it. If you were to step on that, you become tormented, and while you're tormented, you can be sent to Cage of Atonement. Cage of Atonement works essentially as a hook. However, the difference between the hook and Cage of Atonement is you cannot activate any hook related abilities. So for example, you can act, as I said before, Borrowed Time and Decisive Strike does not activate. However, it does work as a disadvantage for Pyramid Head, since Pyramid Head cannot benefit from one of the best perks for the killers, so that's namely Pop Goes the Weasel and Barbecue Chili. Barbecue Chili works as a perk that allows you to see where survivors are outside of the 40 meter radius from where your hook was, and Pop Goes the Weasel allows you to reduce the progress of gens. However, because he doesn't hook essentially with a Cage of Atonement, it doesn't activate. So there is that. So a lot of people do and will play Pyramid Head with tunneling in mind. So Cage of Atonement negates Decisive Strikes, which means you can tunnel a person to death. Not the best strategy, but not the worst either, because he's got essentially got no gen regression. So here you can see a killer build using Ruin and Undying for gen regression. Surges are thrown there for fun essentially, and you got Spies from the Shadows, which is part of the archives, but it does work really well to see where people are due to its low cooldown and its quite large radius of activation. Much better than Barbecue Chili, which we will never be able to use really effectively as Pyramid Head. That said, if you are not to run any sort of gen regression, you can use the builds that will be optimized for chases only. So this are things like Bamboozle, for example, or Brutal Strength. What else can you have? You can have a Enduring. You can have, if you wanted, Spirit Fury to negate everything. Like, yeah, you can negate all the pallets, you can negate all the windows, and try to down people as soon as you can. Hook them, send them to cage, etc. However, whichever you play, I'm going to be discussing how to play against Pyramid Head, how to play as Pyramid Head. So in this video example, we have people that just running around, stepping into the trail, which is not the best thing to do, as I said before, because it does negate your ability to get out on the hook with Borrowed Time and so on, which is one of the better ones. So you try not to be tormented where possible. The game already has got any obsession, which means that no one is running decisive strike as it is. And despite myself not really tunneling anyone, juggling between all the survivors there, people are not playing carefully. You can see here, so this Cheryl that's been in the torment right now, and this Meg is now tormented as well, and then Cheryl decides to do sabotage and draw attention to herself, even though she's already been hooked once. So Bill's been hooked, Cheryl's been hooked, and Meg's been hooked. Meg's been hooked twice, in fact, essentially, at this point. And this Cheryl's, it's second time for her hook. So she shouldn't be doing sabotage. You can see it from the UI heads up display that Meg is already tormented. So you know for a fact that doing sabotage is completely pointless. Yet you do it. And draw attention to yourself. Even though this is gonna be a second hook. Not a good idea. And on top of not only that, you're also tormented, which means you will just go to the cage. Now, this leaves the team with only 2 people who can safely do any rescues. So that's Bill. He's only been hooked once. Yui's never been hooked. So these 2 people are the ones who needs to go and do altruistic moves, saves, heals, and so on. And the other 2 must really hide. Yet there's this Meg. Comes out from nowhere, didn't even see. I was going for the gen, and she just comes out from nowhere and blocks me going from the gen. With the 3 gens left at this point, essentially, even if that gen pops, that goes down to 2. The Meg goes out of the game instead, and Cheryl's also out of the game after this. So what was the idea behind this? No idea. But she dies as a result. You need to be really, really careful. This is not just a pyramid head, but against any killers, if you are on your death hook, you need to be careful because 1 person down makes the game that much harder. That's why suicide and DCs are frowned upon, because it makes games harder for your fellow survivors. And I don't know why you do that. Again, also if you are on your death hook, you hide as much as you can. You do not run around in a bright clothing, leaving scratch marks all over the place. Most killers, especially at higher rank, will be able to see where you go and where you are. And if you are going to do any chase with Pyramid Head, you need to make sure that you do not move in a predictable manner. If you do move in a predictable manner, because you will be shut down by, well, Shadow of Torment. By the punishment of the Dam. should have cleared the thing, right? Should have. Now this map does show how bad Pyramid Head can be. So it is Mother's Dwelling, and on the receiving end of the Pyramid Head, Mother's Dwelling is terrible map for killers as it is. So opposite of the Macmillan we just saw, but the map is huge. And Pyramid Head, this is where we talk about Pyramid Head's weaknesses. So weaknesses of Pyramid Head is that he does not have any map control. He's got no movement, speed boost of any kind. So he needs to travel from point A to point B, just walking 4.6 meters per second, but he is just walking around, which is not the best. And in a huge map like this, even if he was to run Ruin and Undying, he just cannot get the gens like clumped together. He just cannot defend the gens either. Even if it's 3-gen, this is very hard map to 3-gen as it is. And on top of that, because Pyramid doesn't have any abilities to really interact with hooks either, so Pop Goes Wizard and Barbecue Chili, as I said before, he can't really regress these gens fast enough either. So by the time he finished patrolling, trying to get a person, a gen gets done. What the fuck do you want to do, Totem? Oh, Dwight. He's the one who touched the gen. That was Nia? Who was with me? I thought it was Meg. God damn. I'm blind as fuck. If the person being chased is good enough, the gens will pop. It takes only 80 seconds for a gen to be done. So if you were to put it other way, if you were to be able to hold Pyramid Head's attention for 80 seconds, 3 gens will be done. The beginning of the game. It doesn't matter if it's got Ruin and Pop, because Ruin and Pop, he needs to interact with the generator somehow. Pop's not gonna really work with the Pyramid Head, and Ruin, well, if you're interacting with the generator, it's not going to work either. Now this game was a bit slower because as you can see, but one person gets down, and it should have been 3-gen at this point. But Steve was now working on the generator. Me and Nia was working on one generator together. So essentially, only 2 gens pop here because I've done 1.5 gen here. Because Steve's not doing it. Steve's not doing anything. But if he was to put enough pressure, Pyramid Head can't do anything. And another gen pops. So we are down to 2 gens. So I've done 2 gens and Nia did 1 gen. And we got 2 hooks at the moment. Steve's got hooked once and Dwight's hooked once. And Dwight goes down. As soon as Dwight goes down, and I go and try to save Steve. Now, as I said before, if you're on your death hook, in this case Dwight, you need to make sure you hide. Hide as long as you can, and hide in the corner of the map and do a safest gen. That's what you need to do. Now on the other hand, because I know that Steve is being chased, I take a hit. I will take the hit gladly, and I'll try to stay as long as possible on this side of the map so that other people can be rescued. And I do not step on the trail either, because that will, again, it will make games a lot easier for the killer, because putting people to cage of atonement is a lot faster. Now you can see Dwight is going away from where I'm hooked, which is great. However, what he should really be doing is gens. Is he doing gens? Can't tell. But you will see in a bit that he wasn't actually doing anything. So when I say when you're on your death hook, be careful means it doesn't mean you don't do anything. If you're not doing anything, you might as well be dead. You're not doing any favor to anyone. What you need to do is go find a safe gen and do it. If you hear a heartbeat, hide. Doesn't matter what people say on the internet. Oh, you should be doing this and that. Doesn't matter. All you can hide. It's fine to hide. If you're on your death row, you're no good to anybody if you're dead. So you hide. There's nothing wrong with that. Always heal up while keeping an eye on where the killer is. And I'm right next to a gen as well once I'm done. Now here is the annoying part. So we know that this Dwight's been hiding so far. So here's a question. Where is another gen that this Dwight should be doing? No idea. Now this Nia, on the other hand, she's not hooked once. So it is okay for her to be hooked even at this point. This is another thing. This is what I said about playing against any killers, not just Pyramid Head, any killers, is that you do need to make sure you take turns on the hook so that no one person is turned to death. That means you body block, that means you be annoying as possible. Doesn't mean you go down straight away, of course, but you do need to make sure you do this. This Dwight has managed to do less than 20% of gen progression by himself, while other people are being chased. Will it prove thyself? Life goes on. This is how it works. This is how solo queues are like. It just would be like that, because people just don't know. That's why you bring aura reading perks. If you don't know what you're doing, if you're not sure what you're doing, you bring aura reading perks. Kindred, bond, empathy, anything like that, that will help you. Otherwise, you're just wasting time. Right, here it goes. So Pyramid Head saw me doing a gen, and he knows the other gen is almost done. That I know the situation of that other gen, but Steve was hooked. So he decided to chase me. But because I'm on the opposite end of the map, and I'm not even going to die from this one, there's no point for him to just keep chasing me. Because by the time he downs me and goes back to the hooked Steve, who's unhooked now, that gen will finish. That gen's almost done as it is. Now this time, because the gens are spread out, there's no need for you to force one gen. Even though we know that the other side of the map has a gen that's going on pretty far on the progress wise, there's no need for me to push that, because killer will be guarding that. There's 3 gens left, 3 gens that can be done. So that's all going to be all spread out across the map. So what do? You do them by yourself. And this is what I said. Steve was on the death row. Dwight's on the death row. Dwight was on death row ages ago. And Dwight decided not to be a hero, was hiding around. To be fair, if he did a gen, that would have helped. But he is hiding around. And which is helping, because it's more pressure on the killer, because he can't find, unless he finds and kills these people, gens will be done. Even at 1 gen left, if there's 2 people alive with 1 gen left, killer still needs to chase that person within 80 seconds to make sure gens don't pop. But look at it, I've essentially done this gen as well, but again by myself. That's what, 3 or 4 gens by myself, because I'm the only one who's actually putting any sort of active pressure on the gens. And that's it. That's the end of the game. Pyramid Head cannot pressure gens. He can have good chase potentials. He has good potential for tunneling, anti-DS essentially, and has ability to make games go faster. But he doesn't have any map pressure, and because he doesn't have any map pressure, there's nothing he can do. So to summarize all that in shorter context, so as a survivor, your job is always to do gens against a pyramid. So Pyramid Head will be, there's 2 types of Pyramid Head. One that will bring some sort of gen regression. That can be either Ruin Undying, or it could be Pop Goes the Wizard for some reason, I don't know, they could do that. But if they do bring any sort of gen regression, you can counter that So if it's ruin and die, you can easily just do the ruin and die. Get rid of them. There's only two totems that you can do. Get rid of it. That's it. However, if it is other type of Pyramid Head where he's focused more on chases and tunneling and so on, if he's more focused on chases, obviously you try not to get found and downed straight away. Make sure you keep your distances. Bait out the power where possible, because that will also delay Pyramid Head even further. And lastly, to the gens. Pyramid Head does not have any sort of a gen regression or gen stopping perks, so do the gens and really put pressure on the killer like that. This works for most killers of course as well, but Pyramid Head is very susceptible to gen pressure, and as long as you're keeping the distances, he can't really attack. Okay, that's it from me. That's it from me, and hope you enjoy the content, and hopefully I'll be coming back with something similar for other killers as well in the near future. Where is Dwight? Oh my god, I don't know where he is. I can't see him. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I upload videos on a daily basis. If you got any suggestions or anything you have in mind, please leave a comment. Thanks for watching.